The cursor blinked on the launch page like a heartbeat I no longer recognized as my own. Morgan Hayes sat cross-legged on her worn couch in a cramped San Francisco apartment, a half-empty coffee mug balanced on her knee. Inside it, dry Cheerios floated alongside a forgotten string cheese wrapper. The screen glowed softly in the dim room. Nexlify Tech's sleek automation platform. The one I'd poured 4 months of my life into. 12-hour days, bleeding into weekends. Holidays spent debugging alone while the rest of the team vanished for team-building hikes in Marin or ping-pong tournaments in the office lounge. And there it was, powered by Nexlify Labs. No mention of the architect.
No credits.
Not even a buried comment in the source. Just polished graphics and a promo video that looked like it took an intern 30 minutes in Canva. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply reloaded the page 3 times, watching my absence repeat like a cruel loop. Each refresh felt like erasure, like the code that defined my existence had been commented out of the final build. 4 months of solo development on a Python backend, React frontend, and a Kafka streaming pipeline that no one else understood. I'd optimized every query, handled edge cases that crashed early prototypes, and built failover systems during all-nighters fueled by black coffee and sheer stubbornness. Yet the splash screen credited no one but the corporate logo. The paranoia had crept in months earlier, right after the second time HR lost my equity paperwork in processing. Legal is just being legal, they'd say with that polite smile. Meanwhile, Blake Thornton, the new CTO with his Patagonia vest, perfectly trimmed beard, and habit of saying let's circle back like it was wisdom, arrived midway through. He strutted into stand-ups like a glitchy character in a game, asking if we could throw some AI flair on the UI without grasping the underlying architecture. When I explained the custom pipeline I'd engineered from scratch, he blinked and said, "That's adorable." That was the moment something shifted inside me. Quietly, methodically, I rewrote the boot sequence. Deep in the initialization layer, 3 levels down where casual audits wouldn't reach, I embedded a conditional check. If my admin credentials weren't validated at runtime, the system would default to a harmless placeholder, donut_loop GIF. A pixelated donut with rainbow sprinkles spinning endlessly through a starry digital void. Nothing destructive, just visible enough to scream incompetence if ignored. Harmless on the surface, unstoppable without knowing the exact path. I called the file internally, backup_fallback_99, and encrypted my personal forks religiously. Isolation became my armor. I stopped joining happy hours, locked my workstation even for bathroom breaks, and used dummy commits on the shared repo while real progress lived in encrypted branches. When someone swapped my keyboard for a pastel ergonomic joke, I plugged in my backup without a word. Meetings happened without me. I stopped expecting inclusion. Loneliness traded for control. By the night before launch, alone in the office, I watched the promo video loop on the demo screen. Blake and the team were out celebrating synergy over craft cocktails, toasting infrastructure they couldn't maintain. My calendar pinged, launch sync in conference room B at 6:47 p.m. Bland subject. No agenda. I accepted without hesitation. The walk to the conference room felt heavy, each step echoing the weight of unspoken betrayals. Blake sat perched on the table edge, folder centered perfectly, like a prop in a bad corporate drama. His aviators hung from his collar despite the indoor lighting. "Hey, Morgan. Appreciate you swinging by late. Just wrapping things up before the big day." His voice dripped fake camaraderie. He slid the folder forward. Inside, termination effective immediately. Signed at 5:59 p.m., before the invite even sent. Huge kudos on the build. Truly magic. But with product complete, your roles. Redundant. Budget timing thing. The words landed like cold fog. I slid the letter back untouched. Thanks for the code, he added, as if it were a potluck dish. No acknowledgement of the sleepless nights. The loyalty poured into every line. I stood, zipped my hoodie, and left without drama. The door clicked shut. In that silence, the timer I'd embedded began its silent countdown. The Boolean had flipped. Back home. I opened my encrypted archive, confirming the safeguards. The paranoia that once felt exhausting now felt prescient. They had stripped my name from keynotes, deleted it mid-edit in shared docs, overlooked me in equity rounds. But code doesn't forget. As dawn approached, I knew the war room across town was scrambling, cloning repos, stripping traces, assuming clean hands at the table. They had no idea the real work had never lived in the main branch. The war room hummed with frantic energy under fluorescent lights. The scent of cold Thai takeout and energy drinks thick in the air. Blake Thornton stood at the center, barking orders laced with buzzwords, optics, throughput, synergy, while whiteboards filled with half-formed diagrams. Less than 16 hours until the demo for VCs, board members, and a live stream audience. His plan: clone the repo, erase any lingering references to Morgan, push the build to staging, claim ownership cleanly, he declared around midnight, prompting awkward claps from interns. The senior devs exchanged uneasy glances but kept typing. At 1:43 a.m., junior engineer Miguel squinted at the boot script. Guys, why is the NIT still referencing her profile? Blake barely glanced up. Whose? Miguel explained the credential check unlocking the core container. If inactive, it defaulted. He clicked deeper. Silence fell as donut_loop GIF blinked in the console output. Blake laughed it off. Just a leftover placeholder. Delete the check.
Commit. Push.
Hard stop at 6 a.m. She's gone, no bombs here. Miguel hesitated, copied the path to a sticky note anyway, but complied outwardly. The build pushed without full retesting or QA on the modified stack. Assumptions piled like unchecked commits. By morning, the event hall transformed into a glossy spectacle, LED walls pulsing slogans like disrupt, automate, scale, white acrylic chairs squeaking under nervous shifts, ring lights for the stream, drones hovering for sizzle reels. Victor Kane, the CEO, worked the room in fun robot socks, handshakes firm and optimism dialed to 11. Board members sat Botox still in front. Investors from firms like Argent and Blue North whispered from tablets. 11,000 live viewers already. At 1:02 p.m., lights dimmed. Victor took the podium. Today marks something extraordinary, a paradigm shift in automation, built in-house to perfection. He gestured to Blake, who bowed modestly. Music swelled, then cut. The center screen flickered. Instead of the sleek dashboard with real-time graphs, heat maps, and predictive trees, a single pixelated donut with sprinkles, spinning slowly through a vast digital void. No UI, no controls, just endless, silent rotation. For 2 seconds, the room assumed loading. By 5, smiles faltered. At 10, nervous chuckles. At 15, whispers. Is this the product? At 20, Victor's jaw tightened. What the hell is this? He hissed at Blake. The donut twirled smugly. Cheese, no. Sprinkles, glistening in pixelated silence. Phones rose in the press row. Flashes popped. A Bloomberg reporter asked if it was symbolic. An investor hissed, "Kill the feed." But views climbed. The stream lived. Blake fumbled backstage, tripping over cables, jamming a tablet. Wrong build. Must have overwritten. Victor snapped. Fix it now. Miguel hovered over his keyboard. Breath held. He'd seen the flag. Watched Blake dismiss it. The system functioned precisely as coded. Logs showed the credential lock. Audit trail pointed to Blake's admin deactivation at 7:12 p.m. the prior night, triggering fallback exactly. Chaos mounted. Fake commits surfaced, decoys, stubs, placeholders. The real framework never lived in Maine. She hollowed it out, Miguel said quietly. Sleight of hand all along. Blake's face cycled colors, red to pale. Victor stormed in, flanked by board and PR. She knew. Get her back now. But Morgan wasn't waiting. Across town in a mall food court, legs propped on a chair, she sipped fountain Pepsi and ate real pepperoni pizza, watching the meltdown on her phone. Earbuds in. Hoodie low. The donut still spun. Memes exploded on X. When your AI revolution runs on sprinkles. Hashtag trending donut disaster. The video call connected at 9:06 p.m. Morgan wiped grease from her fingers, adjusted her hoodie, and accepted. Victor Kane appeared haggard, sweat beading under harsh light, board member pacing behind like a caged executive. PR muttered crisis phrases off-screen. Thank you for answering, Victor started, voice strained yet grasping for control. Blake's gone. Effective immediately. That was my call. Morgan raised an eyebrow. Silent. Victor leaned in. I should have seen this coming. We need your help. What will it take? She let silence stretch. Straw squeaking in her cup. Root access. Retroactive equity from day one. No cliffs. Immediate vesting. He nodded rapidly.
Done.
Draft tonight. She tilted her head. Actually, I've had another offer. His face drained. She flipped the phone briefly. Rival company's logo. Subject, welcome to the future. Victor looked gutted. The board member froze. PR fell quiet. Morgan smiled small. Controlled. Thanks for the donut party. But I'm cooking my own now. Call ended. Closure. No yell needed. Months later, glass walls caught morning sun across polished concrete in her new space.
No succulents.
No hollow slogans, just focused keyboards, real lattes, humming minds. Morgan sat at her desk, hand-picked team around her. Engineers who listened, designers who iterated without ego. Ops leads honest about flaws.
No black clones mansplaining basics.
The interface lived buttery smooth, modular, reliable, pulsing possibility. Built for function, not spectacle. Her assistant knocked. Deploy window open. Honors. Cursor hovered over the button. Green checks cascaded. She clicked. Liftoff.
Clean.
Dashboard alive. What do we call this build? The assistant asked. Morgan grinned. Donut loop. Laughter rippled. Silence, once exile, now felt earned. No more erasures. Just results. First client instance pinged green. She reflected on the termination letter moment. They assumed firing her ended the story. They never asked what happened if the builder chose to vanish entirely. The system stabilized flawlessly. Clients onboard quietly. Morgan leaned back. Arms crossed. Soaking peace after the grind. The original betrayal lingered, not as rage, but as a reminder, respect can't be coded in last-minute pleas. In tech's fast world, where VCs chase demos and execs claim credit, the true cost of erasure surfaces eventually, sometimes as a simple spinning donut exposing hubris. Years on, Nexlify faded into cautionary tales. Morgan's venture scaled steadily.
No fireworks.
Just consistent wins. She mentored juniors, especially women navigating male-dominated pipelines, sharing how paranoia became preparation. The moral question hovered, When does loyalty meet exploitation? What price for being the unseen architect? In American boardrooms chasing disruption, perhaps the real paradigm shift is recognizing the hands that build before they walk away forever. The donut spun once in memory, then faded, proof that code, like justice, finds its way when underestimated long enough.